Greetings everyone, and Grat here for another Days Ruin Tiny Wars replay, and I also have hiccups, so my apologies. You're going to hear a decent amount of hiccups. It will probably go away this game, but it is going to exist in the beginning part. Either way, let's go ahead and get started. Spawn on the bottom side as the yellow Grat, we've got DioTheBeast. On the north side as the green Forsythe, we have SylerSK. Forsythe is of course unchanged, the cartridge counterpart of standard boarding cost, 5 radius, 0 expansion, 0 energy, and of course provide all units plus 20. He can basically load up any sort of unit there. I think it's generally to load up a bit of cheaper units as a bike or a recon. A recon could be quite nice on this map as well, due to it also being fog war, which also could give credence also for flare. Oops, Grat is of course a custom CO, standard boarding cost, 0 radius, 20, 50, 50. Yep, and also, just give you a heads up, I do have the hiccups right now. When it comes to the CO zone, of course get plus 10 for all units, and also all units who start or end their action in the CO zone gets plus 1 max range. Basically, Grat becomes very useful when she gets her plus 1 CO zone, it'll push multiple groups of units with plus 1 range. This is one reason why I also sort of believe Grat should be loaded up in anti-air as quickly as possible, since she can quickly get her energy being charged up to get her CO zone charged up, because that's when she gets a plus 1 CO zone. It actually feels like she's actually very strong. When she doesn't have her plus 1 CO zone, she doesn't appear to feel that great. Or appear to be that great. Of course, for a superpower, it does get plus 2 max range for all units. Sorry, the hiccups. So, let's go ahead and get started. Of course, this initial fog of war, we do also have an airport on the map as well, neutral airport. Radar stations go off the side, no comm towers. Also, there's a pair of seaports on the field as well, so you could go for a battleship, which can be okay. Sorry. We do also have temporary airports in the middle of the map, so you don't have to go too far back to resupply your various units, such as battlecopters and maybe dusters. How bad is the audio is going to spike with my hiccups? And Grat AA probably works quite a lot better in Fog War versus Standard. Possibly. That is always a possibility. I never really thought about the difference between the two. But I just think it's good to try to rush for CO zone, and she becomes a mobile support unit. And that's why I think anti-air works best for her, because anti-airs are very good with infantry. Those reliably one-shot them. Got double bike and double infantry, so Forsythe is saving up 2,000 funds, so maybe I'm for a tank there. I'm just trying to calm down and try not hiccuping. Do you have Grat to plot a recon? Yeah, I was thinking of drinking, I almost hiccup with my drink in my mouth. Oh god. Yep. Excuse me. Okay, calm down. Grat has now gone for a tank. Forsythe has gone for artillery and recon. Forsythe artillery, that's interesting. Artillery are relatively cheap. And it's more of a CO zone CO. I don't know. I always say Forsythe should be loaded up on a bit of a cheaper unit, but artillery is something I just was not thinking about. I have no idea that's a good or bad idea. Good or bad idea. These hiccups. Sorry. In standard, I think its opponent can stay out of the range of AA to deny the charge. And another front. Excuse me. true, but that's also can be also go along with battlecopter. I think it's like, yeah. Sorry, the hiccups. It just Recon did a nice little passer. Does spot the CO'd artillery and of course the recon as well. Oh, excuse me. Tank and flare heading down south. Looks like the bike does get interrupted there. Does get CO boosted recon versus recon. Push the artillery forward onto this HQ, or not HQ, onto the city. And the tank, use a +2 range, able to fire from the forest while in range the artillery out of vision range. But of course, that should have entered in within the vision range. So this infantry over here, I'm not sure if Forsythe knows about it, should push forward, spot the CO artillery unit, and let the artillery strike it. This may not be a great deployment there. It's risky, and I think it can easily be punched by Forsythe. Sorry for bringing it up. You should forget about it starting now. Possibly. Flare push way forward. Will he? Does scout out the forest there. Oh, wait, what did the artillery fire on? I was not paying attention. I was already consumes action. Did it waste a shot? It must have wasted a shot. War tank, what? Nope, the war tank jump scare did not get rid of my hiccups. The artillery sees every other square it could have attack from, so yeah. But the problem is, on top of the force. It's a good strike there. The tank does fall back there, getting up to 15 energy. She's almost a +1 CO zone. And now there's, of course, this command tank here. Of course, out of vision range, but should have a good idea where it could be at. Try to infantry bike. Sorry. My hiccups are particularly violent. You probably see my avatar shake quite a bit every time I hiccup. Not sure, but I do have violent hiccups where it shakes my entire body. Do you have now a medium tank and tank in the field? Does get a good strike on the flare, but as long as flare stays alive, it can still act as a flare. Yep. Able to get a +1 range there. Now with Grat at +1 radius, it'll particularly go in his favor, but we do have a tank in range to start softening up Grat's command tank. The 8 tier could try, and no, it shouldn't try. But Forsythe does have a medium tank and a full war tank pushing way forward, which could change quite a bit. Artillery strikes the infantry there, and does get a good strike on the command tank there. Really wounding it. It may need to fall back and repaired. Maybe gotta try to merge. The problem is 5 health. You don't want to let that stay in range. The artillery, this infantry unit did get struck by artillery, so no, she can't hide in that forest there. So she probably should just pull back the tank and merge. Grat's CO unit should definitely be one that stays alive. It does pull back entirely. Did not merge there. Lions just go for a bit of repairs. So it can generally withstand one shot there. We do now have a anti-tank there. And the battle cup, I got to push a boosted strike there. Or boosted range there. Radar station captured up there. Artillery got a pretty easy kill there. 1 health remaining. Nothing too significant. But right now, Forsythe does have a good artillery line there. The flare can be used as bait and the tank there. So if... probably would have kept that CO artillery piece on top of this city there. It will also provide benefits over here. But wastelands are not hiding tiles. So, and does get revealed there. Maybe it could be used as bait. Picks up a mech there. Oh, and Forsythe gone for a rocket and anti-tank there. That's probably too slow in my opinion. Especially with the war tank on the front line, you probably want a good reserve of tanks to push forward with it. Let's take the flare on the tank there. And this tank's out of range of the artillery piece. The war tank is quite a powerful asset, and this artillery can range this infantry unit there. Battlecopter is in range of this tank here, but have to deal with the anti-air first. We saw the infantry unit there. War tank managed to range the anti-air. The command tank is out of vision range. And tank, artillery, battlecopter. And everything else sort of just rotating back, trying to find opportunities. But does push forward with some units here. Grat's catching down south. Forsythe not catch up north. Got 22 versus 23. And try and flip some properties here. Anti-tanks are nice and all, but they're definitely a defensive unit. They are not an offensive unit. They're far too slow. Rocket or APC. The APC I disagree with for the rig. You don't need a forward airport or temporary airport, and doesn't need to resupply right now. Unless you're going Grat's going to try for some mech play, but at that point in time, I think T-Copter's going to do that a little bit better, and she already has one in the field. Couple good picks there. Does a good strike on the flare. Of course, now there's actually quite a bit of battlecopters in the CO zone. Grat could get a pretty good counterattack here. We've got the medium tank in. Look at this. She's actually has pretty good comeback potential. We've got the tank in range. The medium tank, battlecopter, and battlecopter are all within their CO zone. So there could be a lot of free shots here. This could be a good time for Grat to turn the game around. Forsythe has 144. Grat starts to turn 115, so their value is pretty even at the moment. Couple of free shots there on the anti-tank, or on the medium tank. Moved the tank before the medium tank. Should have moved the medium tank first to get that first shot off. Or range attack on something. At least get didn't take any retaliation damage there. And plus, she's almost at Siopa's power. +2 range on everything could be quite nice. Bomber on the field. And so, ends turn of 140. Forsythe starts a turn of 123. ATs are quite powerful aerodynamics, which is why they eventually get deployed into if they eventually get deployed to the fire spots. Yep. Also, one reason why they're pretty slow. That's why I say they're a bit more defensive. Good shots there. Managed to get a pretty good damage on that one. War tank is a good strike on the medium tank. And does get pretty easily knock out both those battlecopters. Let's see. Is there anything that could get Grat to CO power this turn? She needs 5 damage. Because if she were to get her CO power, the rocket would be in range of the war tank, which I think she needs to pop her CO power this turn. Which maybe will be done by doing this. No, that's only 3 damage, which would leave 2 more damage remaining. Which I don't see. Maybe the. Let's see, how much can this do here? 6, so even with boost strike. Wait, no, the infantry hitting the infantry. That's how she can do it. That could give her CO power, and then now allow the rocket to range the war tank. I think she has to pop her CO power this turn like that. And a bomber, yeah, can be very nice. So it can also range the war tank. So don't have to use the CO power to range with the rocket. I was too focused on the rocket, thinking about the war. And does use her CO power right there. And nukes it. Does have her CO power. Now the anti-tank does range the Forsythe command artillery there. it may be good for just to take out the anti-air, then have the battle copters charge forward. That was a clean sweep there. Ends the turn for 125,000. Forsythe starts the turn of 108. Forsythe does have good artillery line, of course. And now with his... He is lacking aggressive units, so I think he does have... If Grat pushes forward, she can be hit pretty hard. But there's so many air units. A missile unit that doesn't provide enough coverage. She needs a fighter. And we've got double anti-tank there. I think Forsythe needs a fighter or duster at this point in time. Sure, anti-tanks can strike battle copters, but they're, I would say, only rated okay, not great. Bomber does get a range shot there, so doesn't have to really worry about charging her CO power now, since it's fully charged. And hiccups. But you have now the seaport being flipped. Crazy, and I dislike it. It's far too slow in this situation. And finally, Forsythe is starting to capture those properties up there. The missile's ready to shoot down some civilian airliners. Nice artillery line there, but one easy spot there. The 2 elf battle copters a dirt cheap spotter right here, and she can 2 elf battle copter spot 2 of these guys. Completes a temporary airport. Spots all 3 artillery pieces there with a nice recon pass. Rocket nukes Forsythe's command artillery. Can be loaded up into the missile there. Be expensive and be far overkill, but it will get his CO zone on the front line. And now got the increased range, bombarding these artillery pieces there. Yeah, Grat's CO, since Forsythe did not take out the CO unit early enough, it's now probably his downfall, the current rate. Grat ends turn of 179, Forsythe starts to turn 125, so he's about 2 turns behind. Grat's rocket may snack comfortably in Forsythe's units. Possibly, I mean, +1 range is quite significant, to say the least. Though, at the 5 range, it's in range of stuff as well. Does get a good hit on the bomber, but there's multiple temporary ports that can probably station itself. But we've also got another bomber here. I didn't realize that because of the hiccups. I've not been paying attention to the buys ultra much because of the hiccups. Takes on the anti-air. The missile maybe in range of the bomber, but the problem is temporary ports do have hides both air and ground. While air units do not hide on top of forests, they do get hidden on top of airports and temporary ports. If I were to click here, temporary port, hideable units, air and ground. As opposed to say, if I click on the forest here, ground. And you get infantry shots there on the battle copter, because if you get free damage is free damage. Missile anti-air there, worried about opposing fighters and dusters, which neither exist. Did CO the medium tank there. Rocket gets another shot off there. Battlecopter and medium tank infantry. Gets a good shot there on that rocket. Did I say naval? I said, wait. There. What? Wait, yeah, apparently yes. I mean, I mean, there are maps where people have a ship stationed on top of an HQ or something. And also, I remember seeing this tile here. This tile has a river behind it. Remember as well, Days Run has a lot of custom tiles, so... Or Tiny Wars has a lot of custom tiles. Adding a little bit more map variety, you can up more to the player. I guess it can. If you want to have a naval game spot on top of forest, it will be hidden. It's good to catch on that. I'm having trouble paying attention. War tank and tank. 184 versus 139. Bomber's at 7 health now. Bringing up some flares is definitely a good idea. Because the flares will spot, and then she can pop her superpower and nuke everything in one turn. And temporary airports allow Tire A to pass through with no train penalties. During the 2-to-1, yep. Maybe that's why there's a temporary airport there. Oh yeah, there's a forest there. Good catch there. That was a bit of road construction now, wasn't it? Now here's a stupid idea. In order to make more utility, wagon rigs could deploy out roads. As something for like a Days Ruin 2 concept. Boosted strike there from the mech. Good damage there. Bomber hits the anti-tank. Of course, the tank was able to strike the missile from behind. Takes out the battlecopter. Grat's CO zone is just ripping apart Forsythe. Forsythe is now below 100,000. Grat in turn 222. Or Y. It's the bomber there. I can't believe my hiccups are still here. Bomber does a good strike there in the medium tank. Tank strikes tank. Mech finishes it off. Does not take out the missile there. Does take out the missile there. Yep. I'm trying to think of some sort of puns involving hiccups, but I got nothing. You got the battleship here on the flank as well. Provide some powerful shore bombardment. But this game feels pretty over. 66 versus 227, and Forsythe has resigned. This Angrade saying thank you for watching, and on to the next replay. And my apology for the hiccups.